Our decision to move back to the UK prompted us to take a good long look at our finances. And what we found gave us a shock and then made us even more excited about moving back to the UK.
So once we looked at all of our accounts, that's our savings accounts, our retirement accounts, both here and in the UK, as well as any other pensions we may have gotten along the way, we realised that not only could we afford to move back to the UK, but we could do a trial retirement as well. That is, retire from teaching.
Yes. So in this video, we'll talk you through the reasons why we believe we can afford to retire or practice retirement. Stick around for the last one, as we think this one will be applicable to most people.
If you've never watched our videos before, hi, I'm Susie.
Hi, I'm Paul.
And we are getting ready to move back to the UK in maybe 4 months' time after living in the US for maybe 15 years.
Yes, yeah. If you want to know why we're moving, we'll pop a link to that video in here somewhere. And stick around. So our first reason we can retire is we're moving back to the UK, which means firstly, there'll be a lower cost of living, and secondly, minimal medical expenses.
Yeah, we've done a lot of research in this area, and I know people may want to comment and say that the cost of living in the UK is getting more expensive, and we do know that.
Yeah.
We see that in the news. We talk to our family and our friends. We're just talking about in comparison to our current cost of living here in the US.
Yeah.
We have looked at the numbers for just, your basic utilities, gas, electricity, water, insurances, internet, your bog standard things. And we have used a website as a sort of starting point to help us out with that, which is called Money Saving Expert. I'm sure if you're in the UK, you know very well who runs that and what that does. But we'll put a link in for that at the bottom. There was also another one, I can't remember the name of it, but it compares like cities and cities, doesn't it?
Oh, should have wrote that down, shouldn't we?
Yeah,
But
we'll put that in the
comments
there as well.
Yeah.
It helps you to compare cities to cities. So say you wanted to live in, Birmingham or Swansea or wherever it was.
But that will do international comparisons as well.
Yeah, so it'll compare with wherever you are. So that has given us this idea that it will be a lower cost of living for us.
For us. I think that's the thing we have to reiterate with this. These 10 steps that we've come up with are ours.
Yes.
And if you're in a similar situation to us, then it'll probably be applicable to you. But obviously, we have certain circumstances about our life which doesn't apply to everybody.
Yes. And then, as Paul said, the minimal medical expenses, because we are moving back to a UK system that has a national health service. So, again, we have in the past, in previous videos, mentioned that this is one of the big reasons we're choosing to move back to the UK anyway. And so it's going to just, take a burden off us. Yeah.
Also, if you're thinking of retiring abroad, let us know in the comments. Where would you go?
Yeah, we know that there are a lot of Brits here in the US that are thinking of retiring back to the UK, but some of you may think you're going to Spain or France or Canada or Thailand.
And a lot of American people want think about moving further south for retirement, don't they? Places like Costa Rica, things like that.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments, because I'm sure we're not the only ones thinking about retiring. Moving on to our second reason why we believe we can do this trial retirement is the fact that we don't have children.
Yeah.
So for reasons we don't need to go into right now, we've never had children. And so it meant two main things, I think, that are going to affect our retirement. One is we had more money, like on a month-to-month basis, that we could put away
so
for
we
our
could
retirement.
save more money.
Yeah. And the second one is that really we don't have any inheritance that we have to leave for anybody.
Sorry, God, kids. You're not getting a cent.
So we didn't have to factor in having to sort of, hold back a certain amount. I'm not saying you have to. It's your money. You've earned it.
You've earned it. Do what you want with it.
I think we both said to both of our parents that we were wanting them to spend their money on themselves and be happy and live a good retirement. But everybody has their own decision to make on that one.
On the back of that, we were very, very lucky that on the back of the sad departure of our parents, we received inheritances, and this allowed us to pay off our debts, didn't it?
Yeah, so our parents obviously didn't listen to us, and they did leave us some
Yeah,
money, which, as Paul said, was after some very terrible news that maybe we'll go into one day in another
yeah,
video. But yes, it kind of allowed us to, as Paul said, pay down our debts, but also take advantage of things.
yeah, yeah. The money that we had saved, we could put into things that would make it grow.
Yeah. So over here in the US, they have CDs.
Which
What
is
are
a
they called?
certificate of deposit.
And what would that be in the UK?
It'd be a fixed rate deposit account.
So because I guess the last 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, the interest rates have been high in the US,
Yeah.
but that has obviously been negative for some people. But for people like in our situation who did have some money that we could put away, it's been pretty good for us.
Yeah, so a CD is like a high.
Yield.
It's not a high yield savings account. It's like
Similar
a
to it.
fixed term savings account where
That's
you
it,
put your
yeah.
money away at a certain percentage, so you're guaranteed a return at the end of it.
And what's happened of late is that actually the shorter terms have had the higher interest rates
Yeah,
as opposed to the longer term ones, which usually have the higher
yeah,
rates. So we've been able to put our money into like a CD for maybe only 9 to 12 months.
yeah,
That matures, and then we can put it into another one for another 9 to 12 months and
yeah.
so on. So
Now, we would say we are very conservative when it comes to investing, and probably if you know what you're doing with the stock market, you can do all right. But it is a gamble at the end of the day, and we weren't prepared to gamble that much with our money over a short term period,
yeah.
obviously.
And also knowing it came from our parents, we
Yeah,
kind of didn't want to just throw it away because
yeah,
they worked really hard for it.
yeah.
So that was CDs. We also have taken advantage of high yield savings accounts over here. So we've had accounts that have sort of been hitting 5%, haven't we, on savings.
Yeah.
So those accounts have just allowed us to be a bit more flexible. You can take money in out of that without any sort of penalty. But the biggest one, I think, is
The house.
yes,
Yeah,
we have, with the money that we got from our parents, been able to put down quite a large down payment or deposit on a larger home, which we know will build more equity for us.
yeah. Well, when we bought this house that we're in now, we knew that we were going to retire. It's just that once Susie did all the sterling work, crunching the numbers, we realised that we could retire a lot earlier than the usual, or the what they call it, the date, 67.
Or your retirement
Yeah,
age.
your retirement age.
Yeah.
So taking that into consideration, that's been has been really
Right.
helpful.
Yeah.
As long as we can sell it for the right
Yeah,
amount.
exactly.
Yeah.
We still have to sell it yet, so stay tuned on that
Yeah.
one. Okay, our fourth reason is that we're going to make ourselves sound really boring now,
Yeah.
but we live quite a basic life. We don't have a lot of extravagances, do we?
No, I don't think so. We live a pretty frugal existence, don't we?
Yeah, and this has sort of been a carryover from saving up to come over to the US in the first place.
Yes, we became very, very conscious of spending, and it's a bit. If you watch us when we go shopping, when we have money to spend, it's a bit sad, really, because we'll pick things up and go, "Ooh," even if they're on sale, we'll.
Yeah,
Do we really need this?
we've talked ourselves into and out of about 50 different holidays that we were going to take,
Yeah,
but then we realized it's a bit too expensive, really, when you think
yeah,
about it, and we could do so much more if we did something else
yeah,
with our money. So we don't really, I mean, we obviously, have a car. That's been helpful as well. We just have one
yeah,
car between us.
yeah.
But we have,
And working at the same place helped as well, because that
yes,
meant we didn't have to get two cars.
yeah.
Yeah,
Our biggest, so we just kind of spend the usual stuff, your groceries, your bills, the mortgage, car loan payment, and then probably the only thing that we do maybe overspend on is the
the
cat.
cat. Yeah, or
Or cats at the
cats as they
time.
were. Yeah,
Yeah, they have probably more toys than they need.
yeah,
But let us know. I mean, are you also a frugal spender? Do you think that you've earned your money now, so I get to spend it now? Because we used to be that way.
Yeah.
Before we met each other, we were different spenders, weren't we, than we are now together?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been good though, I think, because when we came together, we found each other sort of, I would say, later than most people.
Yeah.
We were both in our 30s, weren't we?
Just.
And
I was
and
38.
and so when we actually started, when we met and we decided that that was it, we're going to get married. That's when we really started doing all the saving. So we've been saving
For a
for a
long
long, long
time.
time. It's kind of in our nature now.
Well, we both had everything that set up
Yes.
when we got together. It was more a means of having everything down because we had double of everything, didn't we?
Yes. So it was good.
So, are you a frugal spender, or do you prefer to enjoy your money now?
We've already done that bit.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, well, edit that. So, the fifth reason is we both have pensions that were started when we were both back in the UK. I was advised when I was 18, I think it was 18, at the place where I worked, that by the time I came to retirement, there would be no state pension. And that to start my pension early would be a good idea. So I've been contributed into a private pension. In fact, two private pensions since I was 18, up until I moved to the US. Because at that point we thought we could roll that money over into an American fund, like a 401k, but because, well, for complicated reasons we can't go into now, I couldn't. So that's been kind of dormant for the last 15 years. It's been ticking over.
Yeah.
So that's there waiting for us when we get back.
Yeah.
And you've got some as well, haven't you?
And then I worked originally, my first proper job, I guess, full paying job, was for Procter and Gamble. So I have got a small pension with them. Again, that's been ticking over in the background. And then I started teaching in the UK. So I have a teacher pension. Now, my pots, my P&G pot, my teacher pot, aren't that big, but they are there, and they will contribute some money. So even though it may not be masses amount, it's more, it's a little bit more money that we don't have to try and find ourselves. I mean, Paul's pot really is a really good example of compound interest. You started off with very small contributions, but now it's grown into a decent, sizable amount of money. So, we're not just dependent on what we've earned since we've been here in the US. We still have some funds that are sitting there in the UK waiting for us.
I don't know if it's copyrighted, but I'm going to use it to steal Tesco's old slogan, every little helps. So the P&G pension and your teacher pension will come in and play their part eventually, won't
Right,
they?
definitely. We're going to talk a bit more about that later on.
Yeah.
That's another reason later on. So number 6 is the UK state pension. So your advisor back in those days when you're 18 is not correct. There is still such a thing as the UK state pension.
Well, at time of recording.
And obviously we have mentioned that we have both worked in the UK previously. So we had been paying in national insurance contributions for a good number of years.
Yes.
You have to have so many to qualify. I think it's 35?
Yes. And once we realised that we were going to retire back to the UK, we started paying them again because we wanted that to hit that criteria to be able to get a full pension.
Right. And this is something that, as I mentioned before, we noticed on that Money Saving Expert, is that there had been a window, which is actually closing very soon, isn't it? Because normally you can go back and pay national insurance contributions, but only the past 6 years. But I think they opened it up to be the last 12 or 15 years or something.
I think I've missed one or two.
Right.
But yeah, it was opened up quite a ways back.
And that
we were lucky that it was covered the period that we've been living for.
The deadline for the extra open bit, it's actually going to be closing this April. So if it's something that you want to look into, if you are a Brit over here or expat anywhere else in the world, then you need to go and have a look at that, because it has helped us to. I mean, Paul was very close. Like, you only needed a couple more years anyway, didn't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Being older than I am.
Any
I need
opportunity to tell everybody that she's younger than me, she
yes.
will take.
But I needed a few more, and it's not like we needed to pay in every single year that we've been here.
It was
But
just catching up,
it's
really,
just
wasn't it?
catching up to at least get that 35, because you don't get any extra.
Yeah.
Sorry, but like, if you pay in 40 years, you still only get what the 35 would give you.
Mm-hmm.
So have a look into that, because that has helped us understand that, because I thought I was only going to get a partial pension from the UK, but now we can, knowing we've topped it up, we can work knowing, not work, we can move knowing that that's going to be in place for us.
Yeah.
Also, the good thing about
Waiting for us, because we're not exactly there yet.
But we also know that this is always going to be adjusted for inflation. The other pot, like my teacher pension, the proctor pension, again, they should be adjusted for inflation. Paul's pot, however, is more like a SIP, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that we do need to think about, is that going to grow? Is it going to lose? So when I was doing the spreadsheets that Paul talked about,
The many, many spreadsheets.
you do have to factor that in. If you are going to do a breakdown of all of your, that's what I did. I did a breakdown of all of our pots. And also, as we said, the equity that we're building in the house as our savings. You have to remember that that's money. That's what it means now. But you're going to lose on inflation. So make sure you adjust for inflation. Yeah.
As per usual, our single video has actually turned into two, because I've run out of tea and we need to have a quick break while I put the kettle on and make a second brew. So the back 5 things of why we can retire early will be coming in a second video.
Yes.
There'll be a link to it after this, will there not?
There will be.
Yeah.
But please make sure that you let us know how we're doing so far. Have you got any comments, anything that you might want to add, anything that you want to correct? We are not experts. We just want to make sure that we have said that again.
Yeah.
This is just for our circumstances. Anyway, hit that subscribe button,
Yeah.
because part 2 will be coming out soon at another time. But in the meantime, we wish you a fond farewell.
Yep. Take care. See you soon.
Bye.